Hello and welcome to BQ Pram. I'm Hiral Daria. Joining us on the show today is Deven Choksey to discuss in terms of what's going on with the markets today with the kind of up move that we've seen. Almost 1,000 points rally, Deven, coming in terms of markets. And clearly this is coming in after the nearly $2 billion investment by GQG partners in Adani Group. Do you think that the markets are actually heaving a sigh of relief from here on?
Good afternoon, Hiral. The first point is that market technicals have once again started playing its role. An oversold market till now. I think after this transaction coming in, there has been a pressure on short covering due to the
Hmm.
short covering. That short covering has actually resulted into even the FPIs buying, I think, some of their short positions which they did. Remember one thing that the FPIs are shorting the market and they are making the killing out of this particular market in the nervous sentiment. I think because of these positive news flows, I think that short covering process has started. Should this short covering sustain, then possibility of I think we remaining steady in this market, I think can be argued for. As of now, as I would like to say, coming from the fundamental side of the
Hmm.
companies and their valuation, I would think that I think Indian companies' financials and the fundamentals remains absolutely robust. And anybody who finds market languishing at lower level would find, I think, an opportunity to invest into them at lower level. So any correction or a fall in the market price for a variety of reasons, I think it's always a buy opportunity as far as I'm concerned.
Right. So they've been taking into consideration Adani Group companies as well right now. Do you think this is actually creating a floor for Adani Group stocks since a marquee investor has actually invested them at these kind of prices?
Obviously, I think see up till now the apprehension was that how would they fund that ACC and Ambuja's acquisition of
Hmm.
60,000 crores. With this particular money raised, I think at least that part of the apprehension is put aside. And as a result of which, I think there is no second thought on this subject that investors are willing to bet onto infrastructure assets at a lower price. We have always maintained one thing that those who are creating hardcore infrastructure assets, which are cash generating infrastructure assets, and provide visibility of next 25 to 50 years,
Hmm.
investors will walk into this particular area if the price correction takes place. And that's exactly has happened for Adani Group of stocks. We are pretty confident on this particular subject that any correction into the cash generating assets prices would probably invite more investors. So I don't see that kind of a situation for them. Eventually, I feel that I think they will be in a position to attract a quality of investors into their group companies.
Right. So clearly, what you're saying is that there will be stability and can raise capital if they want at current prices with the kind of money that has come in now. Do you think this will help, better the sentiment for the market and increase retail participation as well, which was down due to the uncertainty?
Obviously, I think there is a good possibility that I think with the sentiment stabilizing, the
Hmm.
participation also will increase. And meanwhile, the correction in the prices have made the valuations appear cheaper currently. If at a reasonably high level of growth, I think which many of the companies are continuing to grow at this point of time, I would think that next 2 years' time, investors will make money out of this market if they bought it at a lower levels.
Hmm. And simultaneously with the Adani companies, Devin, do you think there is support coming in for the banking names as well, especially the PSU banking space? Because these were the names which were actually hammered earlier, despite the performance and mainly on the back of fear of exposure, right? Is that what is actually leading to the rally in the banking names now?
Well, I think our markets are driven by sentiments.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, I think they are not looking at the fundamentals of the business. The public sector banks which we have lent money to Adani Group of companies, they are fully secured by the assets. And even I think overall size of this bank book, I think the amount of money that they have lent to them is I think minuscule. Plus they have got I think a security in form of collections, which is fundamentally very important because those infrastructure assets which are cash generating and they are producing cash which is getting collected by the lender, the chances of I think they becoming on PA I think is remote in such situation. So I think people are exaggerated and they threw most of the banks at a lower price. I don't think that I think that deserves to be even discussed, frankly
Hmm.
speaking, because I think investors need to look at I think the financials properly before acting into the market. To me, I think the bank stocks remain favorite largely because India economy is growing. Bank credit growth is, I think, at 20% in corporate loan book as well as retail loan book, including housing finance loan book. So from that perspective, those banks which are managing the liability side well, for them there is an opportunity always. And I think that opportunity is not for 1 month or 2 months. It is going to be likely to be, I think, for next 3 to 10 years.
Right. So, Devin, let's talk very quickly in terms of individual counters. If you see Adani Ports and Adani Enterprises, 11% on the ports and almost a 18% up move coming in terms of enterprises. And last couple of sessions have been strong as well. Do you think that this is going to be a turnaround and this would be good time to look at these counters from an entry perspective?
Stock price is improving, I think, is definitely making meaningful sense because I think it brings the confidence back into the stock market. And if you look at, I think, the individual company's performance, Adani Port today, I think, has already handled 300 million tons of cargo.
Correct.
And likely to handle, I think, 500 million tons of cargo. So they are compounding the growth rate at a very handsome speed. In such situation, I think if you are even 60% EBITDA margin making company, you are making a significantly large amount of cash flow, I think more than 12 to 14,000 crore worth of EBITDA. So from that perspective, I would think that I think such kind of companies are definitely prime pick as far as I think the stock price is concerned. Suppose if yesterday the stock prices was lower and today it has improved, I still feel that I think those investors are looking at this company from long-term investment point of view. They will not lose money in this kind of business because the businesses are solid, cash generating, and they are on the ground.
Right. And what would your view be in terms of an ACC and an Ambuja cement?
Again, I think the commodity cement is definitely a meaningful commodity provided you have two things. On one side, you have got the limestone and the mining ability to mine the limestone. And on the other side, you have the logistic where you can supply the cement to the market at comparatively cheaper price. If you do have these two important assets with you, then possibility of, I think, you making good money out of cement is remaining always very, very high. I guess I think in Adani's case, this is a prime important point. The limestone mine deposit that they have acquired along with the acquisition and their ability to mine it in a systematic manner, I think is first important point. And the port ability, which is on the western corridor as well as eastern corridor that they have, they could possibly transport cement, I think, at a comparatively much cheaper cost. Given that possibility and given the kind of equation that they already set into this, to me, I think the cement becomes a profitable and lucrative business for them, particularly when India is spending 10 lakh crore plus in this year, and I think 110 lakh crore over 10-year period on infrastructure. So obviously, cement would remain, I think, a prime pick at current levels or the lower levels.
Right. And even if you talk about the energy side of it, which is power, total gas, as well as green energy, how would you view these three counters?
So I think absolutely they are all connected with the requirement of the market as far as I think the power production is concerned. Be it green power production or be it for that matter the thermal power production or even gas distribution business. Each of these businesses are regular business. They generate daily cash flows, and as a result of which, I think these particular businesses are going to be always be the requirement of some of the large funds, insurance funds, pension funds, endowment funds, and so on and so forth. And if these businesses are available at a price which till I think 2 days back, I think they were available at, I would think that investors will walk into and they'll probably grab these kind of opportunities to buy into their portfolios.
Right. And my last question, Devin, coming to you is with this kind of up move that we are seeing in the Adani Group companies, reasons already known now. From a market perspective, do you think this will be a one-off or what is their reading of the situation from what's happening?
See, any valuation when it becomes, I think, absolutely very pricey, at that point of time, I think the attack comes on the selling side. Currently, I think the sell side attack is already over. So I do not know, I think, whether I think a fresh attack on the sell side will come at this point of time. And assuming that I think fresh attack is not coming on the sell side, I would rather like to believe that I think the stock prices will remain steady to higher levels going forward.
Right. So that's the view coming in overall in terms of Adani Group of companies as well as the kind of move we are seeing in terms of banking names as well. Thank you, Devin, so much for joining us on the show and giving us the candid view. Thank you. Stay safe and speak to you soon again.
Thank you so much. Thank you.